Hey fellow artists, this is Ashley with LuLu's Paintbrush, and we're going to be painting a church today. So the first thing you're going to want to do is grab a Sharpie. If you would like to keep the words "It is well with my soul" on your painting. If not, then just forget this step. But if you do want your words, we're going to go over it with Sharpie just so we can see it as we're painting through our background. We want this to shine through so when we're done, we can still see our words when we want to paint over them. All right, so go ahead and you're going to trace these words with a black Sharpie. If you'd like to, you can trace the church as well, but you don't have to. All right, so once you have your words traced over with a Sharpie, or if you didn't want to do that, that's fine too. We're gonna go ahead and start on our background. Now you have a few colors in your kit. You have a darker blue, a lighter blue, you should have purple, yellow, some green. We're gonna use all these colors to do a really abstract kind of loose, quick stroke background. And I'm gonna show you how to do that in just a second. So go ahead and grab your paintbrushes and your paint and let's get started on it. All right, so you're gonna wanna grab your biggest brush. I'm just gonna grab this one here that I have in my kit. I'm gonna grab my darker blue and we're gonna start off with that. You can start wherever you want. I'm gonna start up in this this left corner up here. And as I'm doing this, I'm going to freely paint over the words, but I am going to kind of go around my church and not go over it. If you go over it some, that's completely fine. We'll fix it with paint. But to start this, all I'm gonna do is get some paint on my brush. Also make sure you have a cup with water in it and a paper towel. You should have a plate in your kit so you can mix some colors together, but you're gonna need a cup of water and a paper towel to rinse out your brushes when you need to. So what we're gonna do is grab that darker blue and we're gonna start in the corner up here, and I'm just gonna do some quick strokes like this. Kind of pull it out. I don't have to make it a perfect square or a rectangle or anything. I'm just going to pull some of this color down just like this. And I'm going to take that brush and I'm going to go in and grab some of my light blue. And I'm going to pull that down now. And I'm going to actually kind of pull it over into the dark blue. You can see I'm kind of blending those together. And I'm going to go back in with a little bit more of that dark blue up here just to kind of cover it a little better. And pull down, and then some more of that light blue. I'm not rinsing my brush yet. I'm just adding some of the color and mixing them together and blending. Pull that down a little bit. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab some purple. I'm gonna wipe off my brush just a little bit because I had a bunch of blue on there. I'm gonna grab some purple, and now I'm gonna go in here with the purple, just those quick strokes, and I'm pulling up into the blue. Okay, and as you're doing this, you can also pour a little bit of this color and some white on your plate and mix those together, and it'll give you lighter shades of these colors as well. Okay, and I'm just pulling it right up. It's not perfect. I'm just kind of being real quick and free with these. If you kind of make different shapes, so you can see this is more of a rectangle. This is like a rectangle going this way. This one's a little bit longer. I'm kind of making the colors different sizes as well, so it doesn't look like a quilt or something. Maybe like a bunch of squares. We're kind of making them different sizes and shapes. Okay, now I'm gonna grab some more purple and put that on here, and I might grab a little bit of white. And all I'm gonna do is put some of the white and some of the purple or the blue, whatever color, on my plate, and I'll show you. I'm just taking a tiny little bit and I'm mixing it in with my purple right here on the side. And then I'm gonna take that and go right in, see, right there. So you can see it's already changing the color a little bit right there. So I got some of the darker purple, some lighter purple, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab some of the yellow. You can rinse your brush if you'd like to now. I'm gonna grab a different brush and we'll go ahead and add some yellow. This is just this, a little bit of a smaller brush, but that's fine. I'm gonna grab some yellow, and I'm gonna stick that in here too. And you're gonna start seeing some green come from this, blue and yellow mixing together. You can see I'm going over my top of my church a little bit, but that's okay. I'll fix that later. All right, so I'm just kind of blending that in, and it's kind of making other colors. You can add some white with that yellow as well. I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the purple. I'm gonna add a little bit of white and yellow and mix those together. And that's gonna tone down that yellow a little bit too, so it's not as bright. All right, so that's kind of the gist of what we're doing. We're gonna go over the rest of the canvas. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab some more purple. I'm gonna put that up here. And I'm just going to the very end. We will paint the end in a little bit, but right now I'm just gonna go to the edge and then we'll do the outer part. You can do whatever color you want. I'm probably gonna do the gold because I really like that gold. And we're gonna put the gold in after after we're done with the background. So we're gonna go ahead and keep blending these colors together, adding white if you'd like to tone down the color a tad. Okay, now I'm gonna grab some blue, the darker blue. And feel free to stop the video at any time. You can stop, pause, come back later. The one thing is if you're going to wanna blend your background, you're gonna wanna keep everything wet. If I were to stop this now and go back in, I could continue with the background, but I'm not gonna be able to blend into these other colors as easily as I would if it was wet. All right, so I'm gonna go right with this blue, and you can see I'm going right over the black Sharpie, and that's fine. Everything looks good. I can still see the black through the paint, and that will help me later on when I wanna paint the words. Okay, pulling more blue. I'm gonna grab some more of the lighter blue and bring that in right here. Just pulling it out, kind of blending it into the other colors, just like that. All right, I have my littlest artist with me, so you might hear some noises. He's right here, so don't mind it. All right, so I'm just adding the colors in. I'm just kind of painting over them. Adding some white when I would like to. I'm gonna add some purple up here, or down here, I guess I have purple up there. I'm just trying to alternate colors a little bit too, just so I have like purple here, purple here, purple here, you know, kind of drawing the colors out a little bit so it's not all a big area of the same color. I'm gonna grab some yellow. I'm keeping my yellow brush separate just because yellow mixed with the blue is gonna make green. So yeah, so I'm just gonna keep my yellow brush separate, but I am using the same brush for the blues and purples, okay? All right, I'm gonna add a little bit more white from my kit, and I'm gonna add it in with the yellow, just to add a little bit more toned down yellow too in there. Okay, just gonna pull that down. Okay, it almost looks like watercolor a little bit too. You could water these colors down if you wanted. As they blend together, they do definitely look very watercolory. All right, there we go. And I'm just gonna keep going all the way through. I'm gonna add some more blue here. Just quick strokes. It does not have to be perfect. It's gonna look really pretty at the end. I know it might feel kind of weird now, just doing all these random strokes of color, but it will at the end. It really pulls it all together. It looks really pretty with your white church. Okay, so I'm just gonna continue this. I'm gonna grab some more of the light blue, pull that down here. Maybe add a little white in here too. You can also add streaks of white. Yeah, do you see that? Are you having your snack? You can see, yeah. At the end, I'm gonna add some more white in with it as well. But right now, we're just gonna keep blending through here. I'm gonna add some purple maybe down here, kind of come this way. Gotta add some more yellow in here too. I'm missing some yellow in this area. Yeah, okay. You can add your gold in now if you'd like. I like to add it at the end when it's dry. But you can add some gold in if that is what you'd like to do. All right, I'm gonna blend in some more yellow down here because I needed more yellow. All right, I'm gonna come over on this side too. As we're coming down, I'm gonna try to work on this side. There's not as much to cover right here and down this side right here. So I'm just gonna add some in here. Hey, you got your drink? Go get your drink. Go get it. Sorry about the table shaking. Thank you. Did you find paint? Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna continue on here with these colors. You can add some of the green in. I'm not adding too much just because I'm already pulling green with the yellow and the blue mixing, but you can definitely add green. Now, as you're coming down to your church, you can just kind of go down with like across the line, and then you can pull up too, because it is kind of tricky to get in there and do little strokes. So you just kind of go around along the line and then pull up into those colors. That kind of blends it for you that way. Okay. And as you're doing it, you may see as it's drying, you might want to add some more color. You can definitely do that too. Add a little bit of color where you'd like to, because you'll start to see the canvas will show through. Some colors are more transparent than others, so you're gonna see that as you're doing this. But you can definitely go over, or you can leave it how it is with the canvas shining through. All right, so I'm gonna go down this side right here. There's only a little section, but we're gonna pull through this area right here. And I'm not going into my church. If I get a little bit over the line, that's fine. That's not a problem. Yeah, did you find more paint? Thank you. He's helping me collect paint. Thank you, that's very helpful. All right, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna bring some yellow in down here because I'm missing yellow. Pulling some of the white with the yellow. There you go. I think that's good. Okay, I'm gonna go back over to this area over here and start pulling these colors in down here as well. And I'm just going around my church again. There. And some of this darker blue. Pulling down, and I'm just gonna pull up right in here. Just like that. All right, bring in some of the white in here, add that blue. Okay, pull in some purple. I know I have purple right there, but I'm gonna pull it in right here under the roof of the church. I told you there'd be noise with my little one with me. He's banging some paint at the moment. All right, let's bring in some more blue on this side. You can see out there, we gotta pull this over. Okay, maybe some more yellow. My yellow's getting a little mixed, that's okay. Okay, so I'm gonna continue on with my colors. Pulling some purple down here. Bring it up in here, grabbing some more blue. Really quick and wispy strokes, blending it in. There's some more here. Going on the outside of my church. All right, I'm gonna grab some yellow, pull that in here. Just like that. And let's switch back to purple a little bit here. Colors are becoming a little bit more muted as I'm mixing them, but I can quick wipe my brush off or rinse your brush as well to kind of help that out. All right. Now let's see, let's put some purple back up in here too, since that's a lot of blue right there. Down there. And let's grab some more blue. Let's do the darker blue. Like that. And the lighter blue to finish that off. Okay, now I'm rinsing my brush out and I'm going to dry it off some with my paper towel, and then I'm going to grab some white. I'm not going to grab a bunch of white on my paintbrush, but just enough that I can add some little white strokes in here just to kind of break up the color a little bit, and then we're going to go over with the gold as well. So this is still partially wet, and that's okay. If you want to wait till it dries, that's fine too, but I'm just going to go ahead and just put some strokes around. So maybe like right here, just a little bit, just kind of pulling in some white. It may mix if it's still wet, and that's okay. I might pull down some here just a little bit. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just kind of little areas of white that I'm just gonna pull down into the paint. Not tons, just a little bit here and there. I don't want to cover all my color because it is really pretty. But it just kind of breaks it up just a little bit. And then pulls out the white that's going to be in the church. And then the gold is going to do the same thing. We'll show you that in just a second. Okay, once I've done my white, I'm going to go ahead and do my gold. You can stop and wait till it's all dry. I'm going to go ahead and just move on with the gold just for the video, just so you know what's next. I'm grabbing my medium brush. It's kind of a thinner brush than my thicker one. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to do the same thing, just some strokes like that. Oop, pull it back in here. I'm actually going to go kind of around my edge too and kind of pull down just like that, if you can see that. It's so pretty, I love it. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of pull that down along the edge and maybe the sides. And then I am going to use this same gold to go ahead and go around the outside as well. I don't have to do it right now, but I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to pull that all the way there and then pull it in. So kind of the gold kind of wraps around to the side of the canvas. Okay, so I'm going to go up here. Really quick strokes. Some I'm pulling a little bit longer than the others. You can see that. So it's like kind of like it's running into the all the colors. Okay. Summer. And I'm going to try to make it not super even. I kind of want it just to be all different stroke sizes and stuff like that. Okay. All right, so let's go down here on this side, doing the same thing. I'm not gonna go in, I'm gonna keep with the way the strokes are going, but I'm just gonna pull it down on the side just so you can still see the touch of gold. Okay, thank you, sir. Let's pull it all the way down here. And then as I'm doing this, I'm gonna go ahead and do some strokes in here as well. Like that, okay? Real wispy, quick strokes. I'm not loading my brush down. There is a good amount on it, but I'm not leaving big drops of paint. Kind of just doing quick strokes with just a little paint on it. Not pushing hard. I'm gonna do the same thing I did at the top. I'm gonna do it down here at the bottom. So I'm gonna pull some color up. Okay. I do the same thing on this side over here. Bring it down. I'm not going to go into the church because the church will be painted as well. So let's pull down here, this side as well. Okay. Maybe I'll bring a little bit right there and maybe up in here. Okay. All right, and you are free to add more gold if you want. I'm going to leave it like this, and I'm going to go ahead and do my edges while this is all drying. So you can go ahead and do that as well, or you can move on to the next part, which is our church. All right, now that I have the background done, we're going to go ahead and move on to our church. So the first thing we're going to do is paint white on the church. I know it's kind of silly because the canvas is white, but trust me on this one, if you are painting, oh, there, see, he's helping out. If you're painting and you by mistake drop some color onto your white, it's gonna be really hard to cover it because your white paint is a different color than the canvas. So whenever I'm painting a canvas and there is white area on there, I always paint the white area anyways, even though the canvas is white. All right, so you're gonna take your white and we're gonna go ahead and cover the parts of the church. So I'm going to show you here exactly what we're covering. One second, let me get my white right here. All right, so we are covering, the roof is going to be black. This up here is going to be black on the steeple. This will be white. So I'm going to color this, or paint this in white right here. We're going to do a good coat, and then afterwards we're going to add a little gray to give it some texture. Now you can see I went over a little bit right there, but that's fine. Oh, see, look at this. Hold on. Thank you, sir. That's fine. I can touch that up. That's the good thing about paint. It's always easy to go over and touch up things. All right, so I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna pull down here, the edge of the church. And fill this in. I'm not gonna go into my windows or my doors because we're gonna actually do like a stained glass window type thing, kind of with the same colors that we use on the background, okay? So we can go ahead and finish doing a good first coat on this. Going around the roof, down. Okay, I'm gonna continue going all the way around the church and getting a nice good white coat on here. And this is gonna be white here. There's another little stained glass window. The circle right here is a stained glass window. These two circles are gonna be wreaths, in case you're wondering what those were. Okay, so I'm gonna go right over, finish getting a nice good coat on this. And then we're gonna go in with some gray. Hold on one second. He's trying to help. Okay. All right, now, as it's wet, I'm going to get a little bit of black and a tiny bit of white, and we're gonna make some gray. So you're just gonna get some of your black paint on your plate and a tiny, tiny bit of white, and you're gonna take your smallest brush and, so something like about this size, small, and just a tiny bit of white. So I'm just a very little bit of white. I'm mixing it in with some of my black. Very, actually, let's reverse that. So it's more white and less black. So you can see here, I have some on my plate. I'm just gonna make a light gray. So you're gonna take more white, my color mixing skills, okay, and then a tiny bit of black, all right? And that's gonna give you a gray, all right? And you can add more black if you want your gray to be darker as well, but I'm gonna keep my gray light. And all I'm gonna do, while this is wet, if it's dried, I would go over again with some white. Keep this white brush on hand because you're gonna need this one. All we're gonna do is I'm gonna go, you can see the roof right here. I'm gonna go right under the roof, all right, with some gray. And then immediately I'm gonna take my white and I'm gonna blend that in, all right? So it's kind of almost like a shadow under the roof right there, okay? I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side right here. That way the church doesn't look completely flat. So we're getting it some dimension, some shadows, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and add it down this way right here, kind of on the other side of the doors in between the window. So this part of the church is gonna stand out a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna blend that in. And if you're gonna have some extra probably on your brush. I'm just gonna go right under the roof here. All right, so I'm gonna continue on with the gray. I'm gonna go down this side the same way I did on that side. I'm gonna put it right here, and I'm gonna take that white and blend it in. Now I wanna make sure I'm keeping this wet. If I don't, it's gonna give it a dry brush, more of a dry brush look than blended look. All right, you can add more white where you want. If you put too much gray, just feel free to add more white on top. Oop, I'm adding more gray. Hold on a minute. Get that off my brush. All right. And I'm just going right around the edges. I'm going to go ahead and do it on the outside edge as well. So I'm just going to, you can do tiny strokes too. If you don't feel comfortable just doing a whole long stroke, you can definitely do little short strokes as well, like this. Grab that white and you're going to do the same thing and pull that down right there. Okay. You can add more white if you want, blend it in a little bit more. Okay, I'm gonna do it over here as well. And I'm grabbing that white again. I'm just gonna bring that down. Again, you can do short strokes if you feel more comfortable. You can do something like this. It doesn't have to be one whole line. All right, now I'm gonna do a little bit up here at the top as well. All right. Okay, just like that. Okay, All right, now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the stained glass window. So go ahead, rinse your brushes and grab your colors again because we're gonna go ahead and do those. All right, now I've rinsed my brushes. I'm gonna grab my smaller brush and I'm gonna grab those colors that I used. So the yellow, the purple, the blues, and all we're gonna do is we're gonna do some like little squiggly shapes in the window. So we have this one here, and I'm just gonna kind of go along the outside of the window and make like a little squiggly, doesn't have to be perfect, just some little squiggly shape. I'm gonna go down here, I'm gonna kind of spread my yellow out. I'm just doing little sections, just like that. I'm gonna go over here, since I still have my yellow, I'm gonna go over to this window over here and do the same thing. It doesn't have to be the same shape or anything, just kind of spreading this yellow out. I'm gonna continue on with the yellow. And then I'm gonna stick some up in this window as well. This circle window. All right, now you can rinse your brush and then go ahead and grab a different color. All right, now we're gonna go with the darker blue. I'm gonna do the same thing I did with these other, with the yellow, and I'm just gonna kind of make different little squiggly shapes. I wanna connect the colors too. I don't wanna leave white in between, so I'm just gonna kind of touch the yellow. I don't have to blend it into it, but I'm gonna kind of touch it right there. Do the same thing over here on the circular window and on this window over here too. Okay, just some squiggles. It doesn't have to be anything perfect. You're just kind of giving the illusion of kind of like a stained glass window. Uh-oh. All right, now I'm gonna grab my lighter blue and I'm doing the same thing again. I'm just gonna go in here, touch the colors. I'm not blending them in really, I'm just kind of going on the outside of them. All right, I'm gonna go in here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and continue with this. Sorry, I have to pause sometimes because my little guys need me, so. Add the blue in here, maybe a little down here. All right, now, actually I might add some down here. I didn't add any down this little area. And don't worry if it's not perfect on the outside, that's okay. We can clean that up, and we're also gonna do a quick little outline in black once we're all done too. All right, I'm gonna grab some purple, bring this in here. Okay, maybe add a little over on this side. I picked up a little yellow when I did that, that's okay. Adding some up here. All right, bring some purple over here. Little spot there. Looking. All right, now I might, let's see, bring it. Oh, do you need some help? Hold on one second. All right, I have a little bit of an area right here. I'm just gonna kind of fill in with some blue, I think. Just right in here, I don't wanna leave any white. All right, I'm bringing that dark blue. I'm gonna bring it back in up here since I have this little area. And I'm gonna bring it in, well, let's add a little bit more in here and then maybe add some more of the light blue right here. Okay, now while that's drying, we're gonna go ahead and do our roofs and our doors. We're gonna paint those black. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start up at the top and then work my way down. So I'm gonna grab black and my bigger brush, and I'm just gonna do this triangle shape right up here. And you don't have to do a whole stroke like that. You can do quick strokes if you feel more comfortable. Okay. You can also outline it with a thinner brush if that makes you feel more comfortable as well. This is your painting. I want you to do things how you would like to do them, and not just the colors, but also how you do them with your paintbrushes. You do not have to do everything I do. It's just kind of an example or a way you can do things. But if you feel more comfortable doing it a different way, please go ahead and do that. Okay, and I'm just gonna kind of straighten out this just a little bit. right there. And bring it around this way. Okay. All right, so hold this side over too. It kind of goes up a little bit. So I'm just gonna kind of guide my paintbrush this way. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna take that smaller brush that I have and I'm gonna add a little bit of white to it. So I have some white on there. And all I'm gonna do is go right over that black, so it's wet still. I'm gonna add a little bit of white in here and kind of blend that in, almost like a little highlight. And you can add more to it as well. Once it blends in, it kind of, all right. So I'm just adding a highlight to the top of the church. Okay. Add a little bit, it kind of lightens that black a little, softens it. And then I'm just gonna add just a little bit more. I'm not gonna blend now, okay? It's just kind of run it back and forth right there, and I'm not gonna blend that in. All right, now I'm gonna do the same thing down here on the roof. I'm gonna go ahead and paint it black. I'm gonna keep my thin brush handy for the white. All right, so right here, I'm just gonna flip on this roof. Okay, right there. All right, and I'm gonna kind of turn my painting a little bit. It helps when you turn things too. It doesn't have to stay in one position. I turn my things a lot usually, my door hangers and canvases, and if I'm painting on shoes or whatever, things get turned quite often. All right, so I'm just gonna pull this down here. Okay, now I'm gonna pull this one down just a tad more. It's not as long as the other one. All right, and I'm just, again, doing like little strokes just to kind of straighten it out some. Okay, now I'm gonna do the same thing I did with up here. I'm gonna add some of the white in it just to kind of give it a little highlight, sorry. Trying to thicken up that side just a little bit, kind of match the other side a little bit more. All right, so I'm gonna grab some of this white. I'm just gonna kind of go over it. And then I'm taking that black and I'm gonna blend it down again. I'm not pushing too hard with it, just kind of adding a little there. Okay, same thing over here. Adding a little white and then blending that in. Okay, whoops. Okay. All right, now square off that roof right there. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna paint, oh, actually, nope, we have this little roof right here too. I'm gonna go ahead and do this one, doing the same thing I just did. Okay, add some white in there. I'm gonna make this side a little bit thicker. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit more white and then I'm gonna go ahead and do the little highlight. You know what, I didn't do that up here. I didn't leave that. So I did blend it in, but I'm just gonna go ahead and run a little bit more white just to kind of leave it just like that. Just a little bit, not tons. All right, but down here I'm gonna blend that in, put a little bit of white, blend it in, so it'll kind of soften that black a little bit, make it like just a dark gray, kind of. In certain spots, not the whole thing, but add a little bit more. And then I'm gonna go over with the white and just leave that. Okay. There we go. Now I'm gonna go down here to my doors. You can, hold on one second. You can leave the circles if you want. I'm just gonna paint over them and add my circles after. You can definitely paint like around it to leave the circle, but you do not have to do that. Okay, so let's see, I'm gonna bring my door down here. And over. this down here. And I'll go back through and kind of straighten up the edges. Let's get this in here, and then keep that small, that thin brush with the white handy, because we're gonna go over, use it on the door as well. Real quick. All right, so I'm gonna take that white and I'm gonna run a line through the middle of the doors, just like that. And I'm going to clean it up a little bit. As I'm doing, I'm gonna blend in so that the white kind of gets a little thinner. Taking that black and just going right over it, making it a little thinner. Okay, I got a little black up there, but that's okay. I'm gonna straighten it out with some more white in just a minute after this dries. All right, so that kind of gives me a little line in between my doors to kind of show the separation between the two. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this dry, and then we're gonna go ahead and work on the next part. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and fix up my door a little bit. I kind of went over the line and I just wanna touch that up a little. So I'm just gonna take my white and a thinner brush, and I'm just gonna go around the outside just to clean it up some. That's a good thing about paint, is that we can definitely clean stuff up if we go over the lines a little bit or do the wrong color. It's, you know, it's pretty easy to go back over it. All right, so I'm just gonna fix up this door a tad. Just like that. I'm just using white and thin brush just to kind of clean it up some. Hopefully your door is doing a little better than mine, so you won't have to do this, but I'm just gonna do it real quick and just show you that I make mistakes a lot. It happens, and that I have to go back and fix things. So just sharing that part of this with you so you can see that it happens to everybody. All right, so I'm just gonna fix that up a little bit, and I can always go back over and fix the door a little bit more too if I need to with the black, but I'm just gonna do that and let that dry. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab my thin brush and some gold, and I'm gonna go around these little areas with the stained glass window. So I'm gonna take the thinnest brush I have and the gold paint, and I'm just gonna go around the shape of the little squiggly shapes that I made. So let me get my gold. Okay, and again, I'm taking my thinnest brush I have, and I'm putting a little on my paintbrush, and I'm just gonna go right along the edge. So just really easy, just kind of tracing the edge. My brush is a little wet. Dry that off a tad and grab more paint. Just going right along the edge of the shapes. I'm gonna go around each shape, little blobby shapes I made, and around the outside. Okay, and you can see how it's just kind of making it look more like stained glass, like that. Around this as well. And you can do little strokes. It doesn't have to be, you can just do little strokes to help guide your paintbrush there, okay? So see how that just kind of makes it stand out a little bit more and makes it look more stained glass like, okay? And I'm gonna do the same thing on both these windows here. So I'm gonna go around the outside. This kind of cleans it up a little bit too. And then going around the different colors I did here. Just like really easy, and it just makes it look so pretty with the gold. And it brings in the gold from the background as well, which is nice. Just kind of ties it together. Okay, I'm going to continue to finish this up here, going around the colors. There we go. All right, I just love how that makes it really look more like stained glass. All right, I'm gonna grab a little bit more gold. And I'm doing the same thing on the other window. Same thing we just did. Okay. Going around colors. All right, now I'm gonna let those dry, and I'm gonna go ahead and move on. I'm gonna actually fix up. You can see I went a little over in my color into my background right here and right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix that up. If you didn't, that's awesome. And you don't have to do this part, but I'm just gonna go ahead and touch up little areas that I kind of went over just to kind of straighten up what I've done. So I'm just grabbing some more of my color, and I'm just gonna brush some strokes right in here just to kind of clean up my outer part of my church where it kind of went out a little bit more. I'm just gonna brush that in there. I'm gonna grab some more of my blues as well. And if you are good and you don't need to do this part, you can go ahead and fast forward a little bit too, and we'll work on the next part. So let's see, just pulling this down here, just kind of pull it over. All right, so that kind of cleans it up, pulls that in a little bit more. I'm gonna do it up here as well, just because I went over a little bit. That's the great thing about paint, is we can fix it up. All right, there we go. So I feel better about that. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and go in here and do the little wreaths that I have. So all I'm gonna do is take a thin brush, and I'm gonna grab my green. All right, so I'm gonna grab my small brush and the green that I have, and I am just gonna go ahead and do a circle on each door. All right, to do my circle, I just kind of do like C's. So I do a C this way and then a backwards C. And I have a circle there. And I'm gonna do one right here as well. A C and a backwards C. All right, and from here, I'm just gonna do little strokes, just kind of out and then in towards the middle, just like this. We're just making a little wreath, just little quick strokes all the way around. You can turn your canvas too if you want as you're doing this. And if you don't want a wreath, you don't have to do a wreath. That is okay. You could also add little flowers to this if you wanted. And dress up your wreath a little bit more. Mine are some big wreaths here. You could also add a bow to the top. All right, so there's one, and I'm gonna go ahead and do this other one right here. Same thing, I'm just gonna do little strokes on the outside and on the inside. And if you felt that maybe that was too much green, like this one kind of got a little big, you can always go back in with black and kind of put some black strokes in there. I'll show you that in just a second, just in case the wreath got a little too big and you want to make it a little smaller. I'll show you. Finish this here, so we'll just pull this in a little bit more too, just so. All right, so there's that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and grab my black and add a little bit of black back into it just to make it a little smaller. And I'll show you how to fix that up if it got a little too big. So just grab that thin brush again, rinse it out, and grab some black. And then I'm just gonna go back in here and do strokes this way, back into the wreath. Just like that. And you can see it's already making that center black area a little bigger. Okay, just like that. It's really simple, and that's the good thing with black too, is you can go back over the green and it covers pretty quickly. So just gonna do the same thing here again, just to kind of bring that out a little bit. Okay, and like down here, I came down a little far, so I'm just gonna grab some of that black and put it there as well, just to kind of fix that. All right, now once I have my wreaths done, I'm gonna go ahead and grab some gold again. This should be pretty dry. I'm just gonna go ahead and put a little cross in my window right here. So just making a line down. And over. Make a cross here. You don't have to do this, that's just something that I thought would be pretty in this window. And I'm also gonna make a cross up here at the top of the church, and I'm gonna use that gold there as well. And now if you, when you were doing your background, you have a lot of gold in this area, you could also outline the cross in black too, just to kind of make it stand out a little bit more. I don't have too much gold right here, so it does kind of stand out pretty well. But you could always do that, add black around that. Okay, so that's drying. I'm gonna go ahead and do the outline of the church. Now these outlines are not the full, like I'm not making a whole entire outline. They're just little little accents of black, I guess is the best way to put that. So I'm gonna grab my smallest brush, some black, and then as I do this, I'm just really lightly, I'm not pushing hard, I'm just gonna lightly brush down. So I'm gonna just kind of quick little brush. I'm not doing anything crazy or trying to push too hard or make a whole entire line. This just kind of accents it a little bit, but still defines the end of the church and everything. So let's do right here as well on the edge. Okay, just quick little lines. All right, just like that. And I'm gonna do it in here too. Now this is wet, so I'll let this dry so I can leave my hands in it, but it's wet, so I'm gonna try to be real careful not to stick my hand in it too much. All right, just quick little lines like that, nothing crazy. Do it on this side as well. Okay, and then finishing off on this. Okay, so there's that. You can also go around the outside of the stained glass windows too, just a little bit. I don't go all the way around like I did with the gold, so I'm just gonna do a quick little, just try to show definition of that window there. I'm gonna go a little bit around here and here as well. All right, there's that. And then we're gonna go ahead and move on to our letters. So you'll be able to see the black Sharpie shining through. All you're gonna do is hang on to that thinner brush and your black paint, and we're gonna get started on these letters. All right, so with our letters, you're grabbing a smaller brush and you're just gonna go lightly. You don't wanna push down too hard. The harder you push down, the thicker of a line you're gonna have. So let's just, on this plate, I'm gonna show you. So if I'm making a thin line, you're gonna have a thinner line. If I'm pushing down harder, you're gonna get a thicker line. So you wanna keep pretty light when you're doing your letters. You can always go back over, but just try to go lightly at first. All right, so I'm gonna grab some and I'm just gonna trace right over. So I'm gonna pull this down here for my eye. I'll need a little paint off of that. Okay. And you can always go back over and clean things up too. Take your time. And don't be afraid to lift your brush too. It doesn't have to all be in one stroke. So like this S, I lifted my brush and I'm going the other way. All right, now when you come down to these words that I guess are kind of cursive-y, fancy looking, with these you want to be light with them as well, but your down strokes are supposed to be a little thicker. So when I do these ones, you don't have to do it, but I'm going to show you how I do it. So when I do this, I'm following that. Okay, now I'm doing a downstroke, so I'm going to push down a little harder, like I showed you. All right, so I made it a little thicker. Now as I'm going up, this is an upstroke. I'm actually going to go this way, but it's an upstroke, so it's going to be a little thinner. So you can see that. I'm going to have to go back in here too because one of my bristles is sticking out a little. So it's causing it to get out other places than where I want it. Okay, so then I'm going to go down again. So I'm pushing a little harder. Okay, and I'm lifting. And then this is another upstroke. I could go up. I'm just going to pull it down to here. So it's going to be a thinner stroke, okay? So anywhere you're going to be going down when you're painting, like if you were actually writing the word, you're writing a W. So it would be down, up, down, up. So the down is thicker, the up is thinner, the down is thicker, the up is thinner. And so what you can do too is once it dries, you can also go back in there and make the down strokes a little thicker as well. So we'll move on and let that dry, and then we can go back and thicken the downstroke. So right here I'm going up, so it's going to be thinner, and this will be thicker, so it's down, so thicker. And it's not so much thicker right here, but we'll go back and thicken it up as well. My paintbrush is kind of working against me right now. All right, so here's another one. We're going up, so it's going to stay thinner. And then this part is thinner. And then here, we're gonna make it thicker again. So I'm grabbing a little bit more paint on my brush and I'm pulling down and pushing my paintbrush down a little bit more. Okay, then we're going back to thin again. All right, so it's just kind of thinking ahead. Okay, what if I were to write this with a pen? Any stroke that I do down is gonna be thicker. Any stroke that I go up is gonna be thinner. So if I'm writing this with a pen and I'm going up, this would go up as well, and then this would be the thicker one down. All right, and I can always go back in afterwards after it's dry and then thicken up these strokes too. All right, so there's that, and I'm going to move on to the next ones. Now this, I don't worry about the thicker strokes and thinner strokes. I'm just painting the word as it is. Okay, you also can use a paint marker. If you don't feel comfortable using a paintbrush, that is okay. You can use a paint marker or even a Sharpie to go over these letters and trace them. It takes practice to get comfortable with a paintbrush, and that's okay. It just takes time. All right, now I'm gonna go and do the same thing like I did with well. I'm gonna just do it to sole. So any of the downstrokes are gonna make it a little thicker, upstrokes thinner. So I'm going down here, so I'm gonna push a little harder. I'll have to go back in and thicken these, but okay, then I'll be going up through here. And down, up. Okay, like that. There we go. Lifting my brush up and not pushing as hard as I'm going up. And you can see I don't always go with how you'd write it. I kind of, once it's written, I kind of just do my brush whatever way feels comfortable at that time. All right, so we're gonna move on to the U. Same thing, I'm just gonna lightly pull up. And then as I go down, pushing a little harder. And then up, light. Okay, down, pushing harder, up, lighter. Okay, and then I'm gonna finish off this L right here. Up would be lighter, And then this side would be thicker because it's downstroke. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and let that dry, and then I'll go in and kind of fix up my letters a little bit. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and touch up my letters to finish them up, and then maybe add a little bit into my wreath, and we'll be all done. So let me get over here. So looks okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and touch up my word that is well. Pull that down, make it a little thicker. Remember, I'm bringing it up there. So I'm not gonna add much to this side right here. I'm just gonna thicken this up a tad. Same thing, I'm gonna pull down right here to thicken this up a little bit more. Okay, same with my E. Okay, you can see how it's already kind of giving it the look of calligraphy, kind of, with the strokes that are thicker than others. Okay. This one as well. Just gonna pull down and make that one a little thicker and clean it up some. All right. And then I'll go ahead and work on soul as well. I feel like these other ones are okay. I'm just gonna touch up this S. And the O. All right, looks pretty good. And then let's finish with the L. Just gonna pull this down here, make it thicker. All right, there we go. So now I'm gonna add a little bit into my wreath. All I'm gonna do is add a little bit of green and white in there. I did have green, but you can kind of see it, the black is shining through. So I'm gonna add a little bit of green and maybe a little white, and you can even add a little bit of gold too. So I'm just gonna touch that up real quick. Grab my green, just kind of go over it just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit to add some more green in there. And then I'm gonna add a tad bit of white as well. Get my white. Just a little bit, I have just a tiny bit on my brush, not tons, and I'm just gonna kind of do some strokes here and there just to maybe give it a little highlight in some areas, just like that. Okay, and I can also add a little bit of gold too. Let's do that. Let's add a tiny bit of gold in there to kind of pull the gold into the wreaths as well. Okay. And I'm not worried about rinsing my brush. I'm just gonna dip it into the gold. Okay. All right. There we go. All right, so you should have finished your canvas, and I'm sure it looks amazing. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or message me on Facebook or Instagram, however you want to reach out to me, and I am more than happy to help you in any way that I can. Also, please share your art when you're done. I would love to see how beautiful it is. So you can always share that with me as well. And I thank you so much for painting with me. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you come and paint with me again. Thank you.